What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. I am Rahgel, aka The Talent. As we go through this episode, you may notice it may be a little quiet on the other end. You don't have Sig on this one. So you get just me and me alone. I'm going to bring you my top 20 hyped and underhyped video games of all time. Now, this is a list that I put together just merely on the fact of the ones that I thought, these are not my favorites. These are not ones I completely dislike. But they're ones that I kind of went through and found to be a little more overhyped than they should have been, and ones that definitely did not get the hype that they deserved. So we'll probably spend more on the ones that are underhyped because I do feel like I played more of those ones and maybe a little more passionate about those ones. But again, this is not a list of my top 20 of all time, or the least 20 that I like, and like that. And these are also in no order. So I'm not ranking them 1 to 20 or like that. This is just strictly a list, and a list alone. These are, I'm sure there's going to be plenty more out there, but for this one, I'm going to stick with these 20 that I've got, and we're going to start off with the 20 most overly hyped video games, and probably there's going to be some here that people are probably really going to agree, and probably some that they may disagree on, which is perfectly fine. Again, you're always welcome to come on the episode, talk to us about it, debate about it, and, any way you want to talk about it, you're welcome to come on. So with that, let's get into this one. First off, we're going to start off with Cyberpunk. Everyone knows how overhyped this game was, how it was bullied into coming out. Creators were getting death threats and everything else. The game came out covered in bugs. The game didn't play well, extremely buggy, a lot of bad feedback. They hyped it up so big, but then I don't put this one on the creators, though. The consumer wanted it so bad that they started to threaten the developers, and they wanted it out so bad, but it just failed. And no, this is not my number one, but it's just one that definitely is on the list because it was so overhyped, but failed to deliver. Now, is that on developers, like I said? No, but it definitely got overhyped for the way that it played, and that's strictly how we're going to do this list. It's just how it played. And that one definitely did not play how it should have. Definitely had potential, but again, pushed out too soon. Sucks, but it is what it is. The next one, you're probably going to agree with me on this one too, Battlefield 2042. What do you got to say about this one? It was garbage when it came out, hyped up so big. They wanted to compete with all the other BRs that were out there, but it just fell flat. I mean, definitely was not one that could have maybe been better. I don't know. But the way that it played when it came out, just absolute trash. Didn't like it. Wasn't a fan. Definitely overly hyped for sure. The next one we've got, Madden Football. I love sports. Football is probably one of my all-time favorite sports. I've coached it. I played it. I watch it. Sunday comes around, shut down. That's all I do on Sundays. Monday nights, I'm watching football during football season. It takes even, as you guys know, we do a lot of wrestling episodes. I watch Monday Night Football overall a lot of times. Same thing with Thursday night. I don't do a whole lot of college football. I do enjoy football. I'll watch it. It'll be on the background, but Sundays is where I devote all my time pretty much to it. But definitely this game is what it is. It doesn't change. It's just kind of one of those things that people love it, but I can't find myself to sit down and enjoy it as much as everybody else does. I just think it's way overly hyped on everything they've got with it. But again, it's one of those, I think it's more of a niche type game. You fall into it and you love it. But with that being said, on the niches like that, the next one I say was going to be WWE, but a caveat is anything after Nintendo 64. Everything before that, the games were a little different because you started to get intro music. The gameplay was way different. Just the way that you could play NWO versus WCW, those games were just so different, and the way that it was done, way different. Now you have the same thing. The storylines, they're not as enjoyable. It's the same thing over and over and over. But it definitely gets hyped up way more than it is. It's just a yearly release game, updated rosters, changing a little bit of the storyline. Just something that I don't get excited about it. I love wrestling, but the game is just definitely overhyped. The next one we've got here, Fortnite. It is. It's overhyped. No changes to it. It's a BR. It's stagnant, but it's overly hyped. You know, they're going to the kids. They're trying to pull the kids in and like that. Younger crowd, shall I say, not kids. Younger crowd. There is a definitely a middle-aged crowd as well that plays it. It is a game that is enjoyable to play with friends, but I cannot devote my time to it, and I just don't get a lot of the hype with it. Um, but I think it has a lot of playability to it, but it definitely is overhyped. Everywhere you look, it's Fortnite, Fortnite, Fortnite. I don't know, just definitely overhyped. But at the same time, I will play it, but still, I think it's just too overhyped. But going into that, I will be fair and I will say Warzone. Warzone is overly hyped. As many bugs as that game has, cheaters that they have, it's definitely overhyped. And I will just say Warzone. I'm not going to get into the whole Call of Duty and everything else, but I will say Warzone. As a BR, it is overhyped. It gets a lot of push behind it. It's definitely everywhere you look. Warzone this, Warzone that. Definitely with the new maps that are coming out in the future or in the next few days. Once this comes out, and I'm recording right now on the 7th of November, and we've got NW3 coming out here soon. But with just strictly Warzone, it is overly hyped. It's on, same thing like we said with Fortnite. Warzone is on Doritos bags. It's on, monsters, things like that. It's everywhere. It's overly hyped. It's out there. It's down your throat. No matter where you look, it's going to be there. But I can't say Fortnite without saying Warzone. You can. I'm not even gonna bring up the other ones because I think these are two of the bigger ones that go back and forth. And then I'll just leave those two there. They are overhyped. They are annoying, but those are ones that are playable at the same time. But like I said, they're overhyped. Another one, Star Wars Battlefront. This game had so much potential, and some say it came out before its time. But the hype that they had behind this game and the way that it really flopped, I had high hopes for it. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but I do enjoy the games. This one definitely had a lot of potential, but flopped hard. It was a bundle when the PlayStations came out. I believe it was PS4 when it came out. It was a bundle, and they pushed it hard, and again, it just flopped. It wasn't a game that I enjoyed, and I got mad when I played it because it was built up so big. Wasn't a fan at all. Next one, Alien. Excuse me. Colonial Marines. Huge hype, horrible game. I saw this game a lot in the build-up. Was excited about it. Aliens. If you can't see it back here, I have a Predator. Predator is one of my favorites. So I just knock one down. But Aliens are one that they're kind of unsung heroes when it comes to some of these games. But this game had a lot of potential, and it fell flat on its face. I think the playability was horrible. Just not a very well put together game. I think it was rushed at the same time. But also going to the rush games, like we've had before, Cyberpunk was another one. But the next one after this, Duke Nukem Forever. I think this is more of a nostalgia game than when it was put out. I think they were hoping to get more of the older players to come in and pick this game up and run with it. It just didn't get the, I don't know how to say it. It didn't get picked up it wasn't well received like they wanted to. The game was not good. The game was very buggy and boring. It didn't have I think they tried too much for the nostalgia fact on it, but I couldn't enjoy it. It just got way overhyped, and I didn't enjoy it. The next one is one game that I have not played, but I've seen so many people play it. I don't understand it. Sea of Thieves. I don't get it. I've watched people play it. I can't bring myself to play it. Also, I don't even think it's on console. I think it's strictly a PC game. Again, if I'm wrong, feel free to say something, but I don't get the hype behind this game. You're a pirate on a pirate ship. That's all I've gathered. I don't get it, but, it is what it is. Whatever, I don't know. Yeah, Sea of Thieves, not a fan, don't get the hype. Just, it is what it is, I guess, I don't know. Marvel vs. Capcom. Horrible game. Didn't like it. Not a fan, and this is probably going to go right along with some of these. I do have a few of these games kind of back to back. Marvel vs. Capcom, it was boring. I didn't like it. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of the fighting games. just I liked that you had Marvel, cool, Capcom, cool, just not a very fun game. It was pushed out there, and then no, not a fan, not a fan at all. Next one is any Street Fighter game. Not not a fan of Street Fighter. Maybe that's also why I didn't like Marvel vs. Capcom. Not a Street Fighter fan. I don't like the graphics. I don't like the playability of it. It's just a lot of people that like it. An arcade style game, cool. Not one that I was rushing to fight over to play. Not one that I enjoyed. So I mean, anything like that, didn't like it. And this one, next one may catch people off guard, but any Mortal Kombat made after Mortal Kombat 3. I mean, the first three I enjoyed. Anything after that, after Mortal Kombat 3, I didn't like. Just push them out as they can. Not a fan of them. Even the new one. I have seen gameplay of it. Cool. I mean, there's a campaign mode, stuff like that. Not a fan, if that's what it's called. But I'm not seeing the hype behind any of the new stuff. I think they got a little ridiculous with the fatalities. The where they used animals to kill too. I'm not going to use the word because I don't know if that's accurate or not. But it got a little corny. It got really corny, really corny, really quick. Now moving on from the fighting games, Fallout 76 or any Fallout game. I had a conversation about this today with a buddy of mine. Too technical for me. I didn't get the hype behind it. It's a slow paced game for me. When I played it, you had way too much to do, way too much going on. It's just too slow paced for me. I didn't get the hype behind it. Just couldn't join the hype. I couldn't get with it. But that leads me to the next one of Starfield, this newly released game that you're on a spaceship and you have to pretty much do the same thing. It seems like, again, this is not a game that I played, so I don't think it's on console. But watching people play this game, I think I'm not alone in this one. That Starfield got a lot of hype and it was just horrible. It's boring to watch, and I've even seen guys say when playing it that it's boring and it's very slow paced. I know that it takes a lot of time, and I've talked to Sig about it. He's even put in a lot of time and barely made any progress. So slow paced games like that, I can't get into. And the next one will also tie into that of Skyrim. I can't get into that game. I can't. It's all these slow paced games of trying to go out, collect, do these quests and stuff like that. I can't get down with it. If that's what you're into, cool. Just not me. I just think they're too overly hyped with what they've got going on. But again, it's my ADHD. I don't know. I just have to have craziness going on and constant action of some kind. And so I play a lot of Warzone. But Skyrim, not a fan. Next one I'm probably going to get a lot of hate on, but World of Warcraft. I played World of Warcraft. I've seen how you can lose your life in it. You can lose days in it. You can lose a lot of stuff in it. I just can't. I can't get behind it. So I don't know really how to say it anymore. Of just directly, it's out there and it's everywhere. I mean, they can't even make a decent movie, and that's just a dig at Sid because that movie is garbage. I don't get it. I don't get how people can devote more time to this and not realize that it's the same thing over and over. But yeah, it's just not a game that I can do either. So, World of Warcraft, too overly hyped for me. But again, to each their own, do your thing. Next one that I had high hopes for when it was coming out. All the movies, everything else they had going on. Loved every one of them. Marvel's Avengers. When this game came out, I had extremely high hopes for it. I had seen it everywhere. I had seen them talk about it. I had seen them really push this game out, promote it, and everything else, and it just did not have the playability that was really enjoyable. I thought it was very buggy, and I thought there was a lot of this lackluster. Not as fun as I thought it was going to be. I wanted more open world for it. There's just a lot more that could have been done with the game, but it just left you wanting more, and left you wanting to essentially break the game after playing it, because it was frustrating, to say the least. In my last overly hyped game, that I know we've talked about numerous times, and this is every one of them that's ever been made, is Final Fantasy. I cannot stand turn-based style games at all. I don't care about the story. I don't care about how big of a sword he can spin around or how spiky your hair can get. These games have been shoved down your throat since early 90s, and I cannot get behind them. I cannot enjoy them, and it may be something that will probably get a lot of people upset, but this is my list. You want to debate it, go ahead, come at me, talk about it, whatever. Come on the show, we'll talk about it. But again, Final Fantasy, I left it for last because that will be, if we're ranking, that is my number one overly hyped and disliked game. All right, now to the underwhelmed or underhyped games that I thought growing up definitely didn't get what they deserved when playing them. Now, if you did notice with the overly hyped, there's a lot more newer games because that's how a lot of it is now. The overly hyped, when I was younger, a lot of it was word of mouth. But a lot of the games I'm going to talk about underwhelmed were ones that a lot of my friends weren't talking about. I wasn't seeing in the magazines, or I kind of just ones that you kind of come across, and when you're going out, you're renting video games. Yes, I'm dating myself how old I am, but you're renting video games not from Redbox, but from a video store, like a Blockbuster and things like that. You're going out, you're renting these games, and you're finding ones that you can play that aren't the ones that a lot of people talk about. They're not like the Halos and stuff like that. So you will see a lot of Sega games. To be honest, there are a lot of Sega games that are on here. I think Sega kind of got overlooked on a lot of these, in my opinion, but we'll see. Let's get into it. But the first one that I have on this list is Kung Fu from the original Nintendo. Great game, side-scroll game, left to right. Very simple, very fun game. The playability of this game is great. Speed runs are done on this game all the time. Same with Super Mario, stuff like that. But this with Kung Fu, not a lot of people that I knew growing up when I had this knew what it was. Still to this day, when I ask people about or say something about Kung Fu, they have no idea what I'm talking about. I have to go on my phone and show it to them. Now, back in the day, trying to explain what this was, I had to run home, grab the cartridge, and show it to them. You couldn't just show them on a phone back then. Unless you had it in a magazine back then to show it. That's how you could get it. But you really had to push this game to get other people to play. So Kung Fu is one that definitely is out there. Next one, this is a newer game, Cult of the Lamb. I had just happened to see this one. Another streamer was playing, and I downloaded it, played it, and it's great. The playability is great. The graphics are kind of the sticker cartoonish graphics, but the story of it is kind of fun because it's a cult, and you're taking over and going through and doing many different tasks and things like that. So it's fun. Playability is great, and you get even interactions with Twitch when you're streaming it. So it's just a fun game. Definitely one to check out if you have not seen it. Check out Cult of Lamb. We've talked about on the podcast many times. Sig and I both play it. Next one, Bad Dudes. Probably a knockoff of Double Dragon, but the playability of this one is good. It's not your Double Dragon. It's two brothers that have same Kung Fu style fighting styles in a side-scroll game. It's a Nintendo game. But it was one that was not talked about a lot either because Double Dragon was out there. A fun game. Graphics are what they are back then. Kind of buggy a little bit, but definitely a fun game if you enjoy those Kung Fu games. It's not Double Dragon, things like that. Two-player game. You can only go so far as a first player before the second player has to catch up in your side scrolls. So same style. But if you haven't seen it, check it out. Next one is Knack. Came out on PS4. There's a Knack 2 also. You're pretty much a rock character. As you go through and build up or fight people and collect different stones, your character starts to build up, but if you get hit, you lose some of the stones. So you get smaller, you get bigger. as you collect it. But the playability of this game, I played it a little bit. I've a friend of mine who plays it a lot and really enjoys it as well. I found it from him. Again, this is a game that the playability, he's played it numerous times. I played it a little bit, but seeing it and playing it is definitely fun, playable game, and a game that you can definitely lose your time in if you need to, and definitely a game that I think should have been pumped up a lot more on the PlayStation, because I think it was only a PlayStation game. Next one, I know I had a lot of the fighter games in the overhyped, but I do have one that I kind of enjoyed that I don't think a lot of people at the time when I was playing it or when it came out really played a whole lot of. But Tekken was one that a lot of people did play, but it wasn't looked at as in Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. It was a newer one that came out, but when it came out, I don't think it got the push that it really deserved of how different the characters were. But it is one that, and this is going to be an arguable one for sure of overly hyped or underhyped. But I know that a lot of people didn't know what it was when we first started seeing it or playing it in the arcades. It wasn't anything that was really out that I saw a whole lot of. But again, this is one that I think could have got a lot more hype behind it to definitely put it up there above Street Fighter. I think over the years it did get it, and I think it did eventually end up getting to the Street Fighter level, Mortal Kombat level, but it's still not quite surpassing that or getting it as much love as the other ones are. Another one we had growing up is one that we could stay up for, days, I think, playing this game, was Dynasty Warriors. Definitely a, I don't know what to call it really. It's like a, I don't even know how to explain it. Asian characters of samurai style fighting of mass hordes of enemies coming at you, and you have playability in the matter of you're just constantly fighting these hordes of enemies coming at you in it's samurai style, but they have their Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon type powers. I don't know how to explain it, but Dynasty Warriors is a game that's definitely fun. Playability is continuous in this game and definitely fun to play. Check it out and drop a comment. Let me know what you think of a lot of these so far, but this is one also to check out. Next one I think that's been looked over and needs to be remade was Jet Moto. Jet Moto was made back in, I believe, PlayStation 1 and was just a racing game on, they seem like what are just air bikes. This is a game that you can obviously race, but you can also go around and just play around on the track and don't have to really commit to anything. We played it so much that we ended up just playing tag with this within the different courses that they had. It was definitely a fun game that we would go through and we would race for one, or we play tag in it. And we were, I think, in middle school at this time. And again, this is mid-90s when this came out. So we're playing these games, and it's just one game that I would love to see them remake. But again, a lot of people don't know about this game unless you talk about it and show them what it is. But definitely needed to be hyped up a lot more than it did back in the day. Next one would be a newer one that I found, and this one could have been hyped. I don't really know, but Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I never really saw it, but again, maybe I missed it. I'm not on a lot of platforms looking for stuff. I didn't see a whole lot of commercials, ads, or anything else for it. I had looked up Star Wars games. It wasn't like I stumbled across Star Wars. Obviously, I was looking for Star Wars games and found this one. I enjoyed it. The playability is fun. The story is great. The controls are simple, and I can definitely lose myself in that game. But again, I didn't see a whole lot of hype for it, and I really would like to see more. I did see the second one come out, did get a lot more, but that could have just been because I saw the first one and I started to notice the second one more. But I don't feel like it got the hype that it really deserves and how good the game really is. So, maybe I missed it, but I think that one should have maybe got a lot more hype than it did. Next one, RoboCop versus Terminator. This is a Sega game that I love to this day, and I can play nonstop. It's another side-scroll game, but you have your RoboCop fighting against the Schwarzenegger Terminator 2 style Terminator, and it's fun. The guns that you get and playing as RoboCop, going against Ed 209 as well, and just the different characters that you have to play against in this game, and just the sounds that are in the game are really cool as well. A fun game, and one that definitely a lot of people don't know about that I've talked to and didn't even know it was a thing, but it's one game that I really enjoyed as well. Sticking with Sega, the next one was Maximum Carnage. It's a Spider-Man style game, but also it's a fun one. You're playing as Spider-Man. You fight against Canary. You fight against Black Cat, and obviously Venom, Carnage, Doppelganger, Hobgoblin. A lot of those characters in there. The playability of this game is great. Again, back in the day, did not see this game hyped up a whole lot. I came across it, and the cover art caught me because it's Carnage across the front of it. Didn't really remember hearing a whole lot about it. Came across it, and it's one game that I will still play to today. I love it. It's great. A lot of fun. Playability is awesome. So check it out. Again, Maximum Carnage on Sega, if you can't find it. Next one I had stumbled across, and I don't know if really anybody had talked about it to me or if I just happened to grab it, but Deadpool. I played it on PS4, I believe, when I got it. And I think I come across it in a Redbox, possibly. But this game it's cool, and I don't understand how I've never heard about it or anything else. And again, maybe I just missed it, but the playability of this game is great. You're playing as Deadpool, obviously, but the way that this game plays, you can lose yourself in it. There's just the quips and everything that Deadpool says, the way that you're shooting the guns and playing throughout the different levels. It almost has a, I want to say Batman Arkham game style in a way. But it's definitely fun, and definitely did not get the hype that it deserved to be out there, because it was a fun game. I loved it. I almost kept it from Redbox because I had a really bad habit of not returning that stuff, but I had to make sure because it was $60 if I didn't return it. But I didn't want to take it back. I wanted to keep playing it, and of course I never bought it because once I got rid of it, I didn't play it anymore. But I think it's one that was definitely didn't get the hype it deserved. Next, we have a Homefront. Homefront was a PS4 game. Maybe it's PS3. Again, I made this list. I'm just trying to throw it all out there. Homefront. It's a military-style game of when it's the invasion of the U.S. I can't remember who it is off the top of my head now. I'm drawing a blank. But invasion of the U.S. and you're fighting. It's almost Red Dawn style. So you're going through and you're fighting through urban-style combat, and it's definitely a lot of fun. If you haven't heard about it, look into it. Homefront. I think it was PS3 or PS4. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was definitely fun. Check it out. Next one, again, another Sega game. We're going to probably have quite a few more Sega games, to be honest. The Warriors. Based off the movie, The Warriors. The gameplay game was great. One that should have gotten a lot more hype. The movie was great from back in the day. If you're into those style movies, check it out. The Warriors. But if you see the game, I don't know, without getting a bootleg version of it or trying to get a Sega and find the game, I don't know how you're able to play it. But just look up playability on YouTube with a lot of these games. But this one was fun. You could use weapons, you could throw bottles, everything else. Just one game that I wish would have gotten a lot more hype with it too. Next one, Basket Brawl. Basketball game that's on Sega, where you could fight on the court. You could throw punches, you could throw kicks, you could dive. This was around, I think it was after NBA Jam it came out. This is one game that definitely we played a lot, and it was all through word of mouth on this one, because nobody knew what it was until we came across it again in a video store. Came across it, and it was a local one. We didn't have Blockbuster growing up, but for any reference, that's what I'll say is Blockbuster. We came across it, and we would constantly rent the game, but we had to see who had it or who rented it, because we'd go and it was gone, because we had played it so many times that everybody in our town was renting it, and there's only one copy in the entire town to rent. Now, obviously, some people would go out and buy it, but this one caught on really quick, and it was only through word of mouth on this one because nobody knew about this game until we started playing it. But basketball was a fun basketball game that you could just fight, and it was a lot of fun. And we had a lot of parties that we played this at, sleepovers, stuff like that. Definitely a fun one. The next one we had that I think didn't get as much hype as it should have, and should still get the hype because it's what stemmed from this game. Titanfall 1 and 2, the mech style fighting, definitely a fun game, different from what I've played in the past of mech games. I like the gameplay of it. You can definitely customize. The fights are great. Just the way that the mechs can move and the sound of the mechs and everything. I just don't think it got the hype that it really deserved to go through the way that it was developed, the way it was played. The game has so much more potential to develop into something even bigger than what it already is. I'm excited to see what they do with it because I think it is one that should become a BR style. I would love to see a mech BR game if Titanfall was to do it correctly. I think it could be way better than Warzone, than Fortnite. I think that would be one that will probably take over a lot of the BRs. So definitely one that I've enjoyed. I just want to see more from it. I hope there's a lot more to come from it. So Titanfall, if you're listening, just make a BR. Next one that I played a lot of, and like I said, with fighting games. I have 2 on this list, and I have 2 on the other ones. But Def Jam Fight for New York. This is one that I played a lot, and a lot of my friends caught on to also. And I think I got it from a friend of mine as well. But you have the Def Jam rappers. Like you have Ludacris. There's Method Man, Redman. You have Exhibit. A lot of those guys, you are the fighter in these games. This one is definitely different. They have the whole soundtrack of this game is great because it is the Def Jam music. It's the way that this game is played. It is side scroll. No, it's not side scroll. You turn around. You follow the characters around in the fighting style. Stumble over all that. But the game is definitely fun, and one that not a lot of people have played, and a lot of people have heard about. But Def Jam is a fun fighting game, definitely because it's different in how Mortal Kombat was, how Street Fighter was, how even Tekken was. Just being able to be these rappers and fight was definitely fun and different. I think it's just because it was so different that that's why we liked it as much, but definitely want to see that hype back. I believe it's getting re-released or already released again on maybe newer consoles, or it's coming out. I'm not sure. I know I've seen it teased or whatnot, but one that I really, really liked. Now to the next couple, which I believe are next 3 will be Sega games, and then we'll get to our last one. But this next 3 are 3 Sega games that I played, and I know we've talked about at least 2 of them. I probably talked about 3 of these on previous podcasts, but Toe Jam and Earl, 2 aliens that are essentially stuck in what seems like a unlivable planet, or I won't say Earth because it just seems as if they're stuck somewhere else. I never really got the whole story of this game. I just enjoyed playing it because of how corny it was and the music that they had and just the way that the game would play. I don't think I ever understood the concept of the game or even how to win, but I would get so far in the game and I would die, or I would just kind of get to the point of like, okay, I have to stop playing because I'm going in a circle, and I didn't want to invest any more time trying to figure out what I needed to do. But back then, you couldn't save. Sega didn't have it as a save option or checkpoints in this game, so you would have to pretty much start over every time. But I caught myself going back, starting over, playing it the same way, trying to get to certain points. But a lot of people don't even know about this game, still have never heard about this game. But this one that I think definitely should have been pushed a lot more than it was, and I would love to see more from it if it was, but you'll probably never hear anything from this game again. But yeah, Toe Jam and Earl, definitely a great game. Next one are 2 that are probably iconic, but did not get the hype because they were Disney movies. At that time, they were pumping out a lot of Disney movie games. So, I mean, it got hype just because of what it was, but was not promoted in a manner of, this is a good game. This is a game that a lot of people are going to like. But Lion King and Aladdin. Okay, so they're even sold now as bundles on PlayStation, I believe Xbox as well. But these two games back to back are challenging, irritating, and fun at the same time. There's levels that you get to that you'll never get to again, or levels that will take you forever to get back to. Aladdin was frustrating in the same way. They had the soundtrack for them. The characters are all the same. Definitely one that you have to check out if you have not seen it. But again, these are all Segas. If you cannot find a bootleg version of it, or go back in time, find a Sega somehow. I don't even know if they're on the released Segas that they did. But again, they are on PlayStation and Xbox in some manner. They might be downloadable too. Let's get to the last one. One that I had a Wii at one point, and I found this game, and it's probably one that I found myself sucked into more just because it's not Wii Tennis, because that alone was one that is great in its own. But House of the Dead Overkill, this game sucked me in so much that I think it's one that I will probably be able to play no matter what if I ever get a Wii again. That's one game that I know I played a lot of hours on. Spent a lot of hours just because of how it was. Your first-person shooter going through, and you're shooting at the screen just like arcade style. Have to shoot off the screen to reload. Going through, zombies popping up everywhere. Just this game, the playability of it was great. I just don't think it got the hype that it deserved. I know the arcade style definitely has its style there within the arcade, but you're able to bring it home. I don't think it got hyped up enough to let people know that, hey, you can play this game in home, and it's almost as good as the arcade style. So one game that I really enjoy, and I will play again if I ever get the chance to find a Wii that's not $600 laying around somewhere. So, again, top 20 hyped, overhyped, and 20 underhyped, underwhelming games. Again, please don't take it to heart as if these are my end-all, be-all, top 20, bottom 20 games at all. This is just a list that I put together. So, again, comment, let me know if you want to come on the show and talk about them. Again, go ahead, feel free. It's all in fun, but hey, we'll see. Check us out every Thursday. Sig and I and Lance play typically Warzone. We're looking at other games, but as of right now, nothing's catching us. We're on Warzone a lot, just playing that. Check out the merch store. Yeah. Till then, check it out later. Bye, bitch.